Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's a thoughtful Thursday. Cheers. It's me, Ruben in Ann Arbor, saying hello. I wanted to check in because it's been a bit. Let's put our thinking hat on and take these off. Oh, that's better. And get our iced coffee. That is good. Well, I wanted to share with you. I was listening to the radio this morning, and there was this interview with Rufus Wainwright, and he's a singer, composer, performer. I think he's from the 80s and 90s, popular music. He dipped himself into the world of classical music and withdrew himself, and now he's back into pop music. Anyway, his interview this morning on NPR, after I listened to it, I had to shut it off right away because I just wanted to stay in that moment. You know, when you hear something really impactful, really, just resonates and stays and reverberates. And he was just talking about how his music, and how music in general, what it can do for us in these really radically difficult, challenging times. And some of the very last words he said in his interview was in response to what's happening in the world with COVID and racism and the violence and mayhem. That wasn't his word, but he said it's about love. And I myself have been saying my whole life, existence, it always seems to come back to love, doesn't it? But he says something even more radical. He's talking about surrendering to love. And he didn't say it in the way that I'm saying it, and I gave it that pause. He just said, it's that basic. Because when you get down to the essence of who we are and what we're capable of, as much as life kind of, it gives us some difficult experiences, it's the love that buoys us, that sustains us, that holds us in the good and in the bad. And without that, it feels like we're nothing. But I just surrender to love. And you know who that harkens back to, who that references and connects with? Remember, I think I shared her with you, her writing. She talked about surrendering to love. And now I'm drawing a blank, but I'll come. Bell Hooks. On Love is the name of her book. And just like Rufus, she was saying, love. Just saying it. I mean, it's radical. Why is it so radical? I don't know, but it is. So it starts there. It begins there. It is there. It stays there. It will always be there. And it always comes back to love. Maybe that's our place, our ancestral place, our intuitive place. I don't know to call it, to name it. But when we go home and we have to close the door and just be with ourselves and our thoughts and our dreams, our hopes, and our silence, love is that underlay fabric. And that's what gives me hope. And I feel like sometimes it's not fair for me to speak, so it feels like it's a luxury. I can sit here and tell you about this in my life. I'm not fighting for my life. I'm not I have an economic stability. I have a job. I have retirement income, a pension. I have my health. I have all these wonderful things. But I've known such immense loss and pain, just like all of you have. And I'm thinking in particular of my nephew was murdered on Mother's Day 4 years ago. Violence. He was shot in the streets of Detroit. Another statistic, they said. It's one of the bloodiest, most violent weekends in Detroit's recent history. And my nephew was there, in it. But it doesn't define him or his life. So when we say surrender to love, it doesn't make all those awful things go away. Matter of fact, it makes me treasure them more. He was a father of twins. They were a year old, who he loved so dearly. He's a big guy, and he had each of the boys in his arms, and he was just holding them. That love's not gone. His love is not. And my niece, of course, thinks of him daily and misses him constantly. So there's that love. So love in all its notions, forms, variations, iterations, I don't know what, levels. It's like you put your hand out into space and time and memory, and it's there. And you pull and just take something. So, surrender to love. This radical notion of love. To me, it has inside of it so many other things: self-respect, respect for others, nurturing the good in everyone, and seeing the good in everyone, and helping that. So, kind of long-winded, sorry. But in these days that seem to be becoming more and more traumatic, PTSD doesn't seem to be the right term. Post, it's like in the middle of traumatic. So my suggestion is more of, can we just think, if we all the power, if we all for a moment at the same time meditated, thought, felt that power of love, and then connect all those dots, all those hearts, and that love goes out into the world and nourishes all of us. So maybe for you it's not surrender to love. Might be too hokey, too easy, too simplistic. But for me, it might be because of my really difficult beginnings. But no matter how crazy things got, with all the awful memories, love always made it through. Trickled through in light. So, to light and love in all its forms, and may it find its way to you. Cheers. Just surrendering to love. Take care.